Hi, I'm Amanda Yesilnas, and I'm introducing you to NotebookLM and giving you some suggestions on how to use it for acquisitions and project planning. So what is NotebookLM? Google's calling it your AI-powered research partner. The tool is primarily focused for students writing papers or studying and learning content, but it does have some other possibilities. So here's a dashboard. This is what you're going to see when you open up NotebookLM. Over here on the left side, we have our sources. This is actually the heart of NotebookLM and what makes it different from other AI tools. It's only looking at the content that you give it, so you can upload the different content you want and query it. It will not look at the wider world. In the middle, we have our chat area. This is how you'll interact with your resources that you've uploaded. And over here on the far right, we have the studio. It gives you more complex ways to interact with the resources that you've uploaded into the AI, but it also demonstrates how it's more of a student-focused tool. So you can create things like quizzes and flashcards, also do things like podcasts and videos, mind maps, and make reports. This is where you upload sources to NotebookLM. This is probably the most important thing you will do using NotebookLM, since everything is based on the information you are feeding it. It's also where you might want to curate your notebooks and decide what the notebook is about. This is also where we run into a limitation, though. It does not play well with the Microsoft products. It wants you to use the Google Suite. So you can't upload things like an Excel file or a Word document. You'll have to convert it into a PDF or into something like a Google Sheet. Another way to get around it, though, is if you have a Word file, you can copy the content and paste it in as text. It does have some interesting features, though. If you do use Google, you can connect via Google Drive to information there. You can also just upload a single link. It'll go out and scrape the web page and put the content in for a source. This is really great for things like FAQs, or if there's a research paper, you can give it the URL to it and it will import the paper for you. Another powerful feature is you can add a YouTube link. It will get the transcript and content from YouTube and upload that for you so you can interact with the content of YouTube. And again, we have just paste text, which is a good way, again, to get around it, not allowing Word documents. You could just copy your Word document and paste it in, or you can also just write whatever. So if you need to keep meeting notes, it's a great place to add meeting notes. Need to point out there is a limitation in the free version that you can only have 50 sources. So keep that in mind when organizing a notebook. Here are a list of resources for a project that I'm currently working on. It includes things like video transcripts, emails, vendor documentation, a lot of different things collected in one place. Here's what it looks like when you give it a URL as a source. It will give you a summation of the content of the web page on the top of the page, and then also give you the content of the actual web page below so you can see it. Here's what it looks like if you put a transcript as a source. You can see the summation of the transcript at the top and the transcript below. This is very powerful. In my case, I had 5 hours of videos I needed to watch, but I really didn't have the time to watch 5 hours of video. I took the transcript of each of the videos and put them in, and I was able to make a summation of what was in the content. So a very powerful tool. Here is another example of a source. This one is an email chain that I've inputted. It summarizes the email at the top, and then it displays the email chain below. Now we're looking at the studio. This is how you can interact with your content that you've uploaded in more sophisticated ways. You can create quizzes and flashcards and even audio podcasts and video. Here's the chat panel. This is how you're primarily interacting with your content that you've uploaded. So what do I think NotebookLM is? I think it's your own personal database that doesn't need to be organized. You can throw content in from various formats, from various places, just all this stuff that you have all around, put it in one place and finally be able to interact with it all. Ways to use it for acquisitions and collections. Keep data about an e-resource in one place to assist in renewal decisions. My desire to use NotebookLM came from a time we were trying to renew a specific database. We were looking for information in emails and spreadsheets and in ERM, and I thought there had to be a better way to do this. So I thought if I could put all this information in NotebookLM, I could generate reports and query the information that I needed. So to do this, I suggest you put email communications into NotebookLM, statistics, licensing information, faculty surveys, spreadsheets, just any of this diverse stuff you have, you can drop it into one place to get the answers that you need. What I'm currently using NotebookLM for, though, is project exploration and management. We are in the process of changing our DDA vendor from one vendor to another. This is a project that has a lot of moving pieces. So there's a lot of communication back and forth. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of training. There are just a lot of parts to it. I've decided to move these different pieces and parts into NotebookLM to try to help me get an overview of what's happening and what needs to happen next. I put things like email communications, training video transcripts, product documentation, vendor websites, meeting notes, and forms into NotebookLM, and I'm finding it's a very helpful thing to do. Another way to use NotebookLM is to create training materials and videos. You can put unorganized how-tos and documentation into NotebookLM and get nicely formatted information back, and even create videos explaining how to do things. So the output. Going back to the project that I'm doing with our vendors moving DDAs, I asked for a timeline of Mosaic, which we will be eventually using. This is where I took those 5 hours of transcripts, put them into NotebookLM, and got information out of them. So this timeline is built off of those transcripts. So here's the transcript. And then down at the bottom, it gave me a really nice table about what's coming up in the future. Then after that, it gave me a suggestion of, do I want to compare Mosaic to Gobi, since we're going to have to move to Gobi before we move to Mosaic. And that's great. I didn't think to ask that, but it would be very helpful to know. And here it gave me a great table comparing Mosaic to Gobi based on the information that I have given. Here is an example of a report output. This would be very beneficial to explain to higher ups about what you're doing and why it's important. Here's an example of a video created by NotebookLM, and it's very strange. There's some good information in there and there's some weird information, so you need to be careful. NotebookLM does have some limitations. It doesn't like mini file formats and is trying to force you to use the Google suite of tools. It doesn't have graphic capabilities like the ability to create pie charts or graphs, something that would be really useful, and the results need to be checked. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please contact me at Amanda Yesilnas, at usf.edu.